What I like about any movie or any show is when the score is more than a tapestry, and it is very much like a character that is playing around with the other characters in the show.
Feel comfortable and anything you need, we are here for you.
Thank you so much, Pepe.
Ciao, Daphne.
Ciao.
The first talk we had about the music for the second season, it was mainly for the theme. He told me that he wanted some Renaissance, some Italian operatic elements, everything that would help us transition into this new place. I started with the idea of doing a remix of the first season, and it became a whole new thing instead, but it's still very, very dense electronic. And then for the score, it was interesting to bring all the acoustic sounds, which are very contrasting to the first season. Although you somehow recognize that the spirit of the White Lotus survived with very different music. Has a playfulness in the way that the score is playing around the characters.
Did you guys see the sky this morning? It was so gorgeous.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
I love that top. So cute.
Thanks. You know, I've never seen you in a headband. It's so pretty.
There's a couple of new piano themes which are funny and light and playful, and it sounds like you're playing with just two fingers like a kid on the piano.
Scusate, ragazze. Hey!
They act a little bit like children too, all these people, so I suppose he didn't want to feel like this is super dramatic and dark, but he wanted to feel like there's a bit of a game going on. And then towards the middle, this mice theme, it starts developing more.
Sushi! Chi lo lei, Chiara? Cosa? Non ti sento.
We also thought about all the erotica stuff. We had this idea that it had to be darker, more edgy than sexy music. I really like when voices feel natural but otherworldly, but not like robots, like you can really recognize human texture to it, but whatever weirdness is happening, you don't know why it's weird.
It's supposed to be a feast for your eyes. You're just loving everything you see and engaging in the sumptuous vistas and hopefully delighting in the clothes. Mike White always says that he wants his show to be like a fever dream. So while the costumes do make sense for the character, they're also lush and fun and adding to the rich frame. And that's intentional so that as much as we enjoy the scenery, I wanted everyone to enjoy the clothes.
My fantasy day in Italy is... Well, first, I want to look just like Monica Vitti.
I find Americans, they have this romantic idea of Italy. So we loved the idea that people would be more formal, more dressed up. Jennifer, in particular, does tip into this La Dolce Vita vibe, and her costumes are colorful and printed, and she is upping her game, making sure she looks as fabulous as possible.
I've been feeling so depressed at home, and I just thought I'd come here and feel something.
Through her clothes in a suitcase, she has an idea of who she thinks she should be in Italy, but also she's a little bit lost and sometimes puts on a little too much. And at other times she's depressed. She hasn't really gotten herself together. So her outfits were deliberately chaotic.
I sent my bag back home to New York. Fucking
No.
geniuses.
Okay, well, at least it's not lost. We'll get you some new stuff. It'll be great.
It was a lot of fun putting those outfits together, especially when he really doesn't give a toss what people think. He's so sure of himself, so he just buys whatever he wants and has fun with it and puts together some slightly garish but really fun and still looking good ensembles. Daphne and Cameron are more comfortable in that world than Ethan and Harper, and their clothes are supposed to denote that. Daphne is very upbeat and her clothes are cheerful, and Harper is very uptight and uncomfortable. She knows how to dress in that very sort of cool New York way and comes off quite aloof. It's a direct homage to a scene in an Antonioni movie, and so that's why she wears that dress. It's a little bit late 50s. That's another example of having fun with the costumes in a way that contemporary movies don't always let you do. That's what's fun about Mike's characters. They're very nuanced, and the conversations are always supposed to be a little bit off because you're always guessing about these characters. Who are they? Are they good characters? Are they bad characters? What's going to happen to them? For instance, we were mindful that Quentin ends up being the villain, and so we didn't want him to be in dark colored clothing. We wanted him to be light and friendly and wearing lots of linen and cotton and straw hats so that he doesn't come off like the evil one. They're supposed to blend in effortlessly. You're supposed to get sidetracked and not really see that there's something really sinister at work.
It's like a puzzle. I have the pieces in my timeline, and I try to connect them so it feels like there's a continuity and you believe it. I first make sure that I have the structure of the written scene. Once I get that idea of what this character needs to be in this moment, then I can go back through all the takes and find whatever little side eye, any little subtle nuances that can bring out Mike's brilliance.
Why is this door open?
Is it? I don't know. I have no idea.
Was Cameron in here?
No.
He's not making an indictment on a character. There's an objectivity of both good and bad within.
Shall we?
Yeah. He's really crying.
Yes, Italians, they tend to get a little overwrought.
The idea is, what kind of images can we photograph here that are evocative and suggestive of what's happening in this scene and leads us to what's gonna come in the next scene. There's a language of the speed at which we move. As you're cutting, it's just a feeling. You feel the pace and the rhythm.
What's wrong?
You fucked him.
Knowing that this was going to be the season in which she dies, Tanya became my anchor. I was thinking about how do we tell her story and do it in a way that we don't tip it too much. And then when it does happen, will it be emotional? Will it be heartbreaking for the viewers who love her so much?
The prenup. The prenup. The prenup.
What about the prenup?
If we divorce, he gets basically nothing. But if
what?
If I
Die?
There was always the discussion of, number one, when does Tanya really know something's going on? And then the other question that we talked about, okay, when do we reveal that her suspicions are correct and that there's a plot against her? Even on the boat in that dinner, I still wanted to play it such that maybe it's still just in her head.
Niccolo can take you back to Taormina.
But what about Didier and what's his face? I mean, don't they have to go back to the hotel too?
No, Didier and Hugo are sleeping on the boat, so it'll just be you and Niccolo. Quite romantic in the moonlight.
She runs up, goes to the bedroom. We have coverage of Quentin and everyone freaking out and jumping up so that you can clearly see they're after her. But we thought it was more interesting to keep it totally in her point of view.
Should we have a little talk?